Hello, I'm Paul here. Today I'm going to go over a strategy on how I kind of find signals to do the day trading, and this is probably the most effective way. Uh, with this strategy, you'll know exactly when to go in and when to buy in and when to sell. It's pretty effective. I've already talked about the first part of the strategy, and that is basically the EMA. So let's just reset everything here. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to need three indicators. One of them is paid, so just keep that in mind. So first we're going to load up our EMAs. So we're going to go over here to moving average exponential. We are going to put in, we are going to make sure, got to make sure that our method here says EMA. And the style, I like to make it a bright color. Let's make it yellow. And okay, so we got to change the input to 13. Okay, and so this is the first one. So we're going to do a second EMA, and we're going to do the 48. So we're just going to do it again. Indicator. These moving average exponentials are free. These two are free, but the other one is a paid indicator. So did that. So now we have to go and we have to change this to 48. Change it to 48. And we change that to EMA. And then we just got to change the color to a nice bright color. Let's do that green color. Okay, we're set for the EMAs. And so basically the first part of the strategy, I'm going to get the third one in a bit. But what you want to look for is moments. You got to look at the, was that 13 EMA? I think it's the 13. You got to look at the 13 EMA, which is the yellow line. And so you have to follow that yellow line to make your indications of when you're going to enter the market. So what you want to look for is when this yellow line crosses the 48 EMA. If it's going up, that means the market's going up. If it's that the yellow line is going down, that means the market's going to be going down. It's a good example. It's not quite recently. It's not quite touching, but the market's still going up. If this continues, or if it keeps going red, that yellow line is going to dip lower and lower, and it's going to meet up. It's going to meet up with the 48, and then the market will go down. So I think the market's still going to go up. But let's look at some other examples before I pop in the third indicator here. So I want you guys to see how I based how you enter the market. So right here, you see this point. You see how the 13 EMA is going up and it's crossing. That signals a bull, like the market's going to go up or it's going to go up. You follow that yellow line and you'll be in profit. So let's look at a couple other examples. It has to cross up for it to be a bull cycle. And you see this little small part right there. I personally wouldn't get into that, but it's just small if you catch that. But let's look at another one. Let's look at another time it goes up. Here's one example of it going down. The yellow line goes down. It's going down. So if you were watching this, you'd be watching that yellow line, and the second you see it going down, it's trending down. So you know that it's going to be the candles are going to be in the down. So let's see an example of it going up. Here we go. Here's a good one. See how the yellow line is crossing it right here? Look at all these gains right here. If you came in right here, those are gains. If you came in, let's say you bought in right here, and then you sold right here, those are gains. So you may kind of figure out, okay, I know when to enter, but when do I sell? When do I leave? Because right here, how would you know when the market is going to start going down? There's no indication of when to start selling. Because you could look at this candle and be like, hey, it's going to keep going up. I'm like, no. No, you will have no idea of knowing when it's going to start going back down. So that's when I use the third indicator, which is a paid indicator. It's a paid indicator, and I've talked about it previously. It is called the trend exhaustion. So let's look real quick here. We do the same method. I use the trend exhaustion to kind of help decide when it's going to start going down. The trend exhaustion helps you see the tops and bottoms better. So you use the EMAs to kind of decide when to buy in. So like in this point right here, you would buy in here, you would wait it out, and look at the line. Look at the line real quick. Okay, it crossed right here, and then we get a bounce, and then right here, you see that the trend exhaustion is kind of close to the top. So there's that indication to me that it's going to start dropping a little bit. But let's use another example. Let's first find when it crosses up or down. So we're just going to look for that indication. Come on now, you can find one. God, this was a dry period right here. This is all down. Okay. Well, there's an example of it going down. Yellow line is going down from here. So you wouldn't buy in at this point because it's going down. And you can see that in the trend exhaustion too. You can see that it's going down. So let's look for an example of when it's going up. Here we go. Very briefly. See the yellow EMA is crossing. So it's going up. So this is a very brief time. You might not be able to catch it. But you basically just ride that trend exhaustion a little bit to the top and sell. Because it's close to the top right there. So that's going to be a hard one to catch. Here's a moment when you see it's crossing down. So that means if you look at both, right here, it's crossing down. So that market's going down. So let's see if we can find a moment when it goes up. Okay, here we go. Here's a good one. You see that it's crossing up. And this might be hard to catch too because the trend exhaustion is already at the top. So you buy in here. Now, trend exhaustion is supposed to be there just to kind of help you figure out when to sell. But I don't like using the trend exhaustion just by itself. So what do? You buy in here, and you kind of, if you look at the trend exhaustion, you'll notice it's at the very top right here. It's at the top of the trend exhaustion. So what usually happens? There's nowhere for it to go. It's going to start going down. You know that it's at the top of the trend exhaustion, so it's going to start going down. So that's what happened. Let's see if we can find one more example here. This is basically how I figure out when to sell. Let's say yellow line's crossing. So what happens here? It starts going down. Look at the trend exhaustion. Well, the trend exhaustion says it's going to go up. So, and it does. But what I do is I base it off of the EMA first. The EMA is my first indicator. What I use the trend exhaustion is kind of to help me indicate when to sell. The EMA indicators by themselves is enough too, but you may just be like, when do I sell? When do I sell? Look at other indicators. Look at trend exhaustion. It's there to help you, but Just with the EMAs alone, you might have your own. You might be able to figure it out just with the EMAs alone. Let's look at one more. Okay, here. That is one. Let's see. Okay. So it's crossing, kind of crossing right here. So you buy in here, and then you look at the trend exhaustion. You look at the trend exhaustion and realize when to sell would be right up here. Does it say that right here? The trend exhaustion is telling you, hey, we don't have anywhere to go. We're going to start going down soon. So it did, but then it went back up again. So you never know. But I use the EMAs to kind of help. Really, I use the EMAs first, and if I need the help of figuring out when to sell, I look at the trend exhaustion. But the trend exhaustion is not always right. You can go off just by the EMAs alone. So anyway, that's what I want to talk about today with the how I figure out when to buy in and how I figure out when to sell. I do this over and over. Anyway, I hope this video has helped you. I'm not going to have a video probably out for two more in the next 2 days. So what day is it? Saturday, look for another video from me. Other than that, if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in future videos.